Hi everyone, and welcome to Word of the Day Wednesdays. I am author Nicole D. Miller, and as usual, I am following up on my latest blog. I am a little bit early because I have an appointment, so I had to kind of fit this in and move my schedule around. But I definitely don't want to let you guys down. So this week's blog is God is looking for Davids. And if you're familiar with the story of David in the Bible, you may have some insight into what it is I mean by this title. So in this blog, I share about being a leader. And one of the things that's important to me is servant leadership. And I really didn't have that term when I wrote the blog, but it was afterwards that I realized that's what I'm trying to get at here. So in the blog, I just talk about how often those of us in leadership positions can miss the mark. We can be so focused on the agenda or the vision, and we end up defaulting to self. And I talk about being in these arenas where I'm seeing it manifested, where people are more concerned about themselves than about serving others. And I'm not going to say I'm not privy to it or susceptible to it, but what I realize is in embarking on a spiritual journey, self is gutted out. Self is gutted out. And when self is gutted out, you are less likely to be about yourself when you're pursuing purpose. And so what I share is just a divine moment where I was in prayer on my knees, for those who I felt like were functioning in this way. And God was sharing with me about his ability to be able to trust me and to trust those who have went through the process. And that's when I realized he's looking for those he can trust. And a lot of times in faith-based circles and spiritual circles, there's an emphasis on us trusting God, right? Walking by faith requires trusting because you can't see with your natural eyes. But in any relationship, trust goes both ways. And sometimes we don't understand that when we have a relationship or when we have a faith-based experience, it is a relationship with the divine. So it's reciprocal. So just as God wants us to trust him, he wants to be able to trust us as well. So I cover all of that. And then I talk about how unappealing it can be to embark on this faith journey because you probably won't receive your rewards immediately. And I reference David, just how he was anointed king at the age of 15. It took 15 more years for him to manifest that calling and for him to sit on the throne. And then he went through all hell trying to get there. But I also reference him in the fact that he had a heart that pleased God. And his heart was to do the will of the Father, just as Yeshua. And his heart was to serve the people. And unfortunately, the man who reigned before him, Saul, lost that heart. And Saul is probably a great picture of what's happening often nowadays with leaders. Leaders start off gung-ho, and they start off with this heart to serve the people and to do the will of the Father. And sadly, because of what's functioning in the earth, and man's own greed and desire to serve oneself, which is our sinful nature, we are susceptible and we fall away from that initial plan and desire. And I think Saul is a great picture of, sadly, where a lot of the body is right now, where we start off gung-ho, like this is the will of God, but then we end up falling stray. And unfortunately, it happens often. But this word is for those who desire to serve the Lord, who desire to do things that are of an eternal, lasting effect and not that are not just for this earth, who desire to store up eternal riches and not just temporary movements that die with man. So if you value servant leadership, even if you feel like you strayed away from the initial call, read this blog as encouragement. And I share myself, like I've definitely struggled with running, you know, and seasons of pain and seasons of grief. And it is just the Father's love and his commitment to complete the work he started in each of us that has me on this path of purpose. So you can check out more at NicoleDMiller.com. So you guys know we are gearing up for our next Girl Talk. Drum roll, please. So our next Girl Talk is Sunday, March 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. We will be at Unbar Cafe at Larchmere. So I had this amazing experience today where I got to interview for 93.1 and just kind of shout out Girl Talk. So that'll be airing soon, Sunday morning, and we are steadily approaching that deadline. But I'm super excited to partner with our new partners. We have Teen Enterprise in the house. They train up teen entrepreneurs, equip them. They specialize in urban youth. So it's been phenomenal partnering with them in this season as I'm a volunteer. Then we have Mas Luray. Special shout out to my girl Alicia. And they're doing the production, multimedia platform. And then, of course, Unbar Cafe, who's sponsoring the space for us. So this time around, we're talking about health, and it's called Taking Care of Us. So we're featuring some heavy hitters. We have Ari Baker, we have Dr. Shamara Hutchins, we have Gigi, we have Minister Gloria Terry, and we have Mary Johnson. So all of these women are health gurus, experts in this industry, and we're going to be hearing from them. And you guys know it's going to be intimate, it's going to be life-giving. We're building each other through sisterhood. And I've been asked time and time again, can men come? Yes, men can come. Men who support women empowerment, because it may be about women affirming women, but it's so that we can go back and pour forth into our relationships with men, into our communities. If we're doing well, then we can pour into those other spheres of influence and help them do well and build them up. All right, so I won't take up any more of you guys' time. Please tap into my blog. Make sure to like, save, share, and subscribe. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite. They are $5. You cannot beat that. And I will see you next time for Word of the Day Wednesdays.